welcome you all on the day 2 of the domain exploration session and the last session of this series. So as you all are aware of the fact that yesterday we spoke on why choosing a domain is important, and we came to know about two different domains, which were web development and hybrid app development using React and Flutter, taken up by Harsh, Shashwat and Ayush respectively. Today we have two more domains with us, which are ML, machine learning, that is more of a buzzword nowadays, and cloud computing. Now, for machine learning, we have Riya Goyal, and for cloud computing, we have Tanya Chetna Vaish. We will take up your doubts after each domain has been explained. But meanwhile, you can post your doubts in the comment section. Also, you are free to make notes as and when you feel is required. So without any further delaying, let's start the informative and the interactive session for today. Now I would like to ask Riya Goyal, our technical lead for machine learning and artificial intelligence, to take the session forward.
My screen is visible? Is my screen visible?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Okay. So hey all, welcome to this session. In this session, we will explore the field of technology that is based on you, the technology you are subconsciously depending upon, the technology that is believed to overpower human intelligence, or we can say a technology that is seen as a potential threat to humans. Yes, I'm talking about machine learning. Before I drill down into the session, I would like to introduce myself. I am Riya Goyal from BTech third year with specialization in machine learning and AI. I'm the DSC technical lead and I'll be guiding you through your journey in ML or AI. So imagine your future where robots and humans live in harmony. You get back home, you're tired and hungry, the AI analyzes your mood and adjusts everything accordingly. It gets the food ready for you in the oven. As soon as you get into the bed, it turns off the light and adjusts the AC temperature according to your body temperature. Next morning when you wake up, you get your bathtub ready and the cab waiting at your door. How does that feel? It is not some fantasy, this is the reality of future. So how is this happening? This is happening all because of AI. Anybody here that knows about AI, artificial intelligence?
You guys can use the chat option in the Google Meet. I guess that would be good.
Yes or no, anything?
Yes, some people are saying yes. So you guys have mostly heard about it or also worked upon it? Not deeply. Yeah, like they have a general understanding. Yeah, they quite know the word machine learning.
Okay, so let me tell you. AI is to create an artificial human which not only can live but also can think like humans. So machine learning is a subset of AI. First of all, tell me what is a machine? It is a very basic question. You can please mention someone. What is a machine? Can anybody tell me that? You can always switch off your mics. Switch on your mic and tell me. A simple machine. Okay. So machine is something that takes input, processes through a given set of instructions or rules and gives us some output, right? But for that, we have to give a set of instructions to be performed on the data, right? For example, if you make a code of even and odd numbers, you have to tell the computer that if it divides by 2, then it is an even number, and if it doesn't, then it is an odd number. If I say that machine starts to make its own set of instructions on its own, then it is called machine learning. Now remember, when you were a kid, you must not have been able to identify the difference between a cat and a dog. Your parents must have corrected you multiple times, and you have learned from your mistakes, and now you can easily differentiate between them. So this is how machine learns. It makes mistakes from it, and we give the machine examples. It makes mistakes again and again and corrects itself until it reaches certain level where it can differentiate between the things like human does. So machine learning started in 1952. It started in 1952, but there is so much of hype about it now. It is said that about it, captured by machine learning. One more thing that for the better understanding of the concept of machine learning and the traditional programming, we can understand through this diagram. We see this diagram, traditional programming, what we do, our data, the program performs operations on our data is performed by the computer and it gives us output. In machine learning, we don't expect the output. We expect the set of instructions. We give it data and we give it examples and it gives us a set of instructions. Just like a real life situations, we come across various situations in our real life and we learn from them, we make mistakes and then we correct ourselves next time we don't make the same mistakes. This is how machine learning also improves itself. Next is why there is so much of hype about it now. Okay. So there are mainly two reasons to it. First of all, पहले इतना computational power नहीं था हमारे पास. Second, too much of data is being generated today. When I say too much of data is being generated today, can you tell me how are we generating data? Can you tell me even a single example? Please mention in the chat box.
Basically, they are saying big data, banking records, search engines, through social media and that type of stuff.
Yes, we are generating data everywhere. Right now we are attending this meeting, data is being generated. तुम एक Instagram पोस्ट भी लाइक करते हो तो भी डेटा जनरेट होता है. एक WhatsApp वीडियो को इधर से उधर करते हो, असाइनमेंट शेयर करते हो, एवरी टाइम यू आर जनरेटिंग डेटा. जितने टाइम तुम फोन पे हो ऑलमोस्ट तुम डेटा जनरेट कर ही रहे हो. So this much data is being generated every time. So as this much of data is being generated so for efficient handling of this type of data, machine learning is needed for that. Okay, machine learning is really very helpful for efficient handling of data because it is being used in very much in our day-to-day lives. Next is it is also used in automating the things. So why do we need automation? Let me explain you this with the help of an example. Suppose कि तुम मार्केट जाते हो, तुम्हें आम खरीदने and तुम लोग कोई भी आम उठा के ले आते हो घर पे. Next time you realize that bright yellow mangoes were sweeter. After bright yellow mango, then you again go to the market. तब तुम दोबारा आम खरीदने जाते हो तो तुम्हें पता चलता है, फिर तुम घर आते हो, तुम रियलाइज करते हो कि ब्राइट येलो मैंगो जो छोटे थे वो ज्यादा स्वीट थे, ब्राइट येलो मैंगो जो बड़े थे उनसे. नेक्स्ट टाइम तुम ऐसे ही एनालाइज करते हो पैटर्न्स को बार बार और इवेंचुअली तुम पता चल जाता है तुम्हें कि कैसे खरीदने होते हैं. लेकिन अगर हमारी प्रॉब्लम बहुत कॉम्प्लिकेटेड है, एक ह्यूमन लाइफ में बहुत सारी प्रॉब्लम्स आती हैं और हमें एक प्रॉब्लम पे फोकस करके हम पूरी लाइफ नहीं कर सकते, पूरी लाइफ नहीं वेस्ट कर सकते, तो हमें कुछ ऑटोमेशन चाहिए. सो इसलिए हमें ऑटोमेशन की रिक्वायरमेंट होती है. मशीन लर्निंग हैज वाइड वैरायटी ऑफ एप्लीकेशंस. अगर किसी टेक्नोलॉजी को हम सीख रहे हैं तो सबसे पहले मोटिवेशन यही होती है कि हम उसका एप्लीकेशन देखें कि वो कहाँ यूज हो रही है. देन ओनली यू कैन लर्न इट. सो मशीन लर्निंग is being used in various products of big companies like Gmail. Gmail में when you get a mail and when you start replying to a mail, you get automated responses there. Like, of course, a machine cannot read it. So क्या करता है वो, जैसे हम humans हैं तो हम लोग natural language को, हमारी language को machine 0 और 1 पे चलता है, लेकिन वो हमारी language को समझ सकता है और वो हमारे को रिस्पॉन्स दे देता है कि ये सूटेबल रिस्पॉन्स रहेगा हमारे मेल के हिसाब से. जीमेल हमें एक और चीज देता है, कैटेगराइजेशन ऑफ मेल्स बेस्ड ऑन वेदर दे आर बिजनेस और प्रमोशनल कंटेंट. उसे तो नहीं पता कि उसके अंदर क्या होता है मेल के अंदर, लेकिन यूजिंग मशीन लर्निंग वी कैन डू दिस. वी कैन डू डॉक्यूमेंट कैटेगराइजेशन वेदर इट इज promotional content or a business content. So it categorizes the categories like that. You must have seen this on many news apps also. Next is Google Photos. Google Photos में अगर हम देखें, एक नॉर्मल गैलरी में हमारे साथ क्या होता था, हम लोग फोटोज खींचते थे, हमें किसी इंसान की फोटो चाहिए तो हम पूरे में स्क्रॉल करके उसे ढूंढते थे. पर गूगल फोटोज में क्या होता है, हमारे वो फोल्डर बनाते हैं, सेपरेट फोल्डर्स फॉर ईच पर्सन, पीपल्स एंड पेट्स. सो यू कैन go there, get the photo out of there, and it has become really easy to find the photo out. One more application is Google Lens. Google Lens पे तुम स्कैन करते हो, तुम्हारी इमेज होती है, उसमें टेक्स्ट होता है. इट कैन get the text out of that image and you can search the content. You don't have to copy write it yourself now if there is image. Next is Google Maps. This is really interesting. What happens is, आपने गूगल मैप्स खोला, आप किसी रूट पे, आपको शॉर्टेस्ट पॉसिबल रूट देता है. कैसे कि बहुत सारी गाड़ी चल रही है हमारी रूट पे, और तो हमारी उन सबसे इंफॉर्मेशन लेता है, उस रूट का हिस्टोरिकल डेटा लेता है, उस रूट के टाइमिंग्स देखता है कि क्योंकि अगर ऑफिस टाइमिंग होगी तो मेन रूट पे ऑब्वियसली भीड़ ज्यादा होगी, तो हमें वो डाइवर्ट करके रूट दिखाएगा, उससे शॉर्टेस्ट रूट जो हमें होगा तो वो हमें दे देगा वो रूट. So this is how Google Maps work. Google Assistant. You say, okay, Google, and get your things done. Now, एक और feature आ गया है, like you can hum the song to Google Assistant and it can tell you what song it is. क्योंकि कभी कभार हमें याद नहीं आ रहा होता कि कौन सा song था वो, बस हमें एक melody याद होती है उसकी. Next is Google Translate. Google Translate is very helpful in converting the language of one type of document to another. Facebook में भी काफी यूज होता है Google का. Facebook में जैसे as soon as you upload a photo, so you see a square over the faces of the people that are in your friend list and you can tag them. So this is it recognizes and matches the profile picture of that person with the person in your image and gives the recommendation to tag that person. So this is all machine learning. Next is Amazon Ads recommendation. You must have noticed this in your daily life also. Suppose you put some jacket, you want a jacket and you put a jacket in your cart. Next, and you close the app and then you open the YouTube or Facebook, you see that particular thing everywhere. Even if you buy that product, you see the similar recommendations to buy the product. So this is Amazon Ads recommendation. तो ये business profits में भी बहुत helpful है, क्योंकि अब जो है हमारा जो business हो चुका है काफी online हो चुका है. पहले जो जैसे grocery stores में तुमने देखा होगा कि जो chocolate का counter होता है हमेशा हमारा billing counter के पास होता है, because they know कि इंसान अगर खड़ा है लाइन में तो maybe he will prefer to take a chocolate at that time. So इसलिए लेकिन हमने ऑनलाइन में क्या किया, हमने रिकमेंडेशन सिस्टम बना दिया. सो ये बिजनेस प्रॉफिट्स में काफी हेल्पफुल है. नेक्स्ट इज सेल्फ ड्राइविंग कार्स. सेल्फ ड्राइविंग कार्स क्या होता है, एक ड्राइवरलेस कार होती है तो इसमें हमारे क्या होता है, एक रडार्स और लिडार्स होते हैं, ये हमारी वेव्स पूरे डायरेक्शन में हमारी वेव्स फेंकता है। जिस ऑब्जेक्ट से स्ट्राइक होता है वहां से वेव्स वापस आती हैं, इसको डिस्टेंस पता चल जाता है कि ऑब्जेक्ट कितने डिस्टेंस पे है, तो इसे पता होता है कब ब्रेक लगानी है उसको। इमेज रिकॉग्निशन का क्या है इसमें, हम लोग जैसे ट्रैफिक सिग्नल्स वगैरह, इसको ट्रैफिक सिग्नल्स को वो रिकॉग्नाइज कर लेता है, देख लेता है कि ये ट्रैफिक सिग्नल है, स्टॉप है यहाँ पर, तो हमें रुकना है। अब इसमें भी काफी चीजें हैं जो काम करने लायक हैं, अभी बची हैं। लाइक अगर तुम रोड पे और पेड़ का पत्ता आ जाता है तुम्हारे स्टॉप सिग्नल के आगे, तो ये रिकॉग्नाइज नहीं कर पाएगा। दिस इज अ रियली बिग प्रॉब्लम, बिग इशू। सो ये काम अभी उस पे हो रहा है, और ये काम करने के लिए हम लोग मशीन लर्निंग पढ़ रहे हैं। चैटबॉट्स, अगर हम कोई भी वेबसाइट खोलते हैं तो वहां पर हमारे साइड में आ जाता है कि हाउ कैन आई हेल्प यू, पॉपअप आ जाता है, एंड सम लेडी और सम मैन writes to you, how can I help you, and you tell them your problem, and it redirects you to the link, to the website link where you can find the solution. You don't have to explore the whole website for that. So this is all chatbot. वहाँ पर कोई बंदा नहीं बिठा रखा उन्होंने, एक चैटबॉट बॉट बना रखा है, उन्होंने ट्रेन कर रखा है उसको कि ये वाले क्वेश्चंस जो होते हैं ना, ये फ्रीक्वेंटली पूछे जाते हैं साइट पे आने के बाद, तो उसके आंसर्स वो उसे ट्रेन करके रखते हैं कि अगर इस लैंग्वेज में ये क्वेश्चन पूछा गया तो आपको ये रिस्पॉन्स देना है। तो दिस इज चैटबॉट। इवन कि तुम टेलीग्राम में भी अपना चैटबॉट इंटीग्रेट कर सकते हो। नेक्स्ट इज रोल्स एंड रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज। अब बहुत सारे रोल्स एंड रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज होते हैं हमारे मशीन लर्निंग में। लाइक हमारा डेटा जो होता है, बहुत सारा डेटा है इस दुनिया में, लेकिन हमारे काम का नहीं होता। कुछ डेटा हमारे काम का होता है हमारे यूज केसेस के हिसाब से, कि हमें रिकमेंडेशन सिस्टम बनाना है, या फिर हमें चैटबॉट बनाना है, या फिर हमें इमेज रिकॉग्निशन का मॉडल बनाना है। तो हम उस हिसाब से अपने डेटा को चूज करना आना चाहिए, माइन करना आना चाहिए। डेटाबेस एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर को डेटाबेस को मेंटेन करना आना चाहिए कि डेटा कैसे स्टोर होगा उसमें। डेटा एनालिसिस इज रियली इंपॉर्टेंट, बिकॉज एक कंपनी है, सपोज उसने एक प्रोडक्ट बनाया, उसको पता होना चाहिए कि उसका प्रोडक्ट कितना चल रहा है, उसकी प्रोडक्शन कितनी होनी चाहिए, उस प्रोडक्ट पे उसे कितना फोकस करना है। तो व्हाट इट डज, इतना सारा डेटा हम लोग वैसे तो ऐसे देखकर तो एनालाइज नहीं कर सकते ना, तो ये पाई चार्ट, बार प्लॉट्स वगैरह बना के हमें पूरे डैशबोर्ड्स बना कर देता है। डेटा एनालिस्ट में यही होता है, डैशबोर्ड्स बनाने होते हैं, और उसमें इंसाइट्स मिल जाती है बिजनेस को कि हाँ हमारा ये वाला प्रोडक्ट इतना चल रहा है, इतना नहीं चल रहा है, उसमें इतनी इंप्रूवमेंट की जरूरत है। तो हमारे पास डेटा पे एनालिसिस करके हमको इंसाइट्स देता है। अब डेटा साइंटिस्ट का काम क्या रह गया? डेटा साइंटिस्ट का काम ये हो गया कि फ्यूचर में क्या होगा। लाइक अगर कोई कंपनी प्रोडक्ट बना रही है, हमने एनालाइज किया प्रोडक्ट बना रही है, उसका वो देखना चाहते हैं कितना मार्केट में क्या डिमांड कितना होने वाला है, ट्रेंड्स में बेस्ड ऑन द हिस्ट्री की ऐसी सिचुएशन आई थी तो ये वाला प्रोडक्ट बहुत ज्यादा बिका था। लाइक हमारा कोरोना वायरस चल रहा है, तो सैनिटाइजर्स पहले इतने नहीं बिकते थे, तो अगर डेटा को हम डालें उसमें, अगर कोरोना वायरस का सैनिटाइजर की बिक्री कितनी होने वाली है आगे, तो वो प्रिडिक्ट कर सकता है। बहुत सारे रोल्स होते हैं बाकी, डेटा आर्किटेक्ट, डेटा इंजीनियर, एमएल रिसर्चर, एमएल इंजीनियर, एआई इंजीनियर, और बहुत सारे रोल्स होते हैं। स्किल्स क्या चाहिए? स्किल्स हमें चाहिए, प्रोग्रामिंग स्किल्स होने चाहिए। बेसिकली पाइथन में की जाती है, कर हम किसी भी लैंग्वेज में सकते हैं, बट कॉम्प्लिकेटेड हो जाता है। पाइथन इज रियली प्रेफर्ड these days for machine learning. Understanding of data structures, because एक लॉजिकल अंडरस्टैंडिंग होनी चाहिए, क्योंकि हाई लेवल में हम लोग जाएंगे तो हम लोग को प्रोग्राम की ऑप्टिमाइजेशन भी करनी आनी चाहिए। लाइक हमारे पास फॉर लूप होता है, हम 5-6 लाइन के लिए चलाते हैं बेसिकली एज अ बिगिनर, तो 5-6 लाइन हमें वैसे भी लिख सकते हैं, लेकिन अगर हमें ज्यादा डेटा पे काम करना है तो एफिशिएंट होना चाहिए, तो डेटा स्ट्रक्चर्स की अंडरस्टैंडिंग इंपॉर्टेंट है। नेक्स्ट इज मैथमेटिक्स। अब मैथमेटिक्स से मतलब नहीं है कि हम वी हैव टू फिनिश अ बुक इन 1 day or 2, द होल बुक इन 1 day or 2, बट बेसिक अंडरस्टैंडिंग जितना 11th-12th में पढ़ा था उतना आना चाहिए। एंड even if you face problem in that, you can always refer to some book. You don't have to do the whole book in 1 day sitting. Next is software engineering. You should be aware of the software engineering life cycles, because अल्टीमेटली मशीन लर्निंग मॉडल्स उन्हीं के साथ इंटीग्रेट होती हैं, उन्हीं के एनहांसमेंट में मदद करती हैं. Next is data mining and visualization. I've already told about it. Machine learning algorithms. Obviously, to make future predictions, we need some algorithms to train it. Now, let me show you a live example of it. So this is a sentiment analyzer. And if I write here, it is the best thing I have ever seen. Now, if I want to classify the text, it is a positive sentence. And even if I change a single word over here, it is the worst thing. It changes our sentiment. So this is how accurate it is. There's always some reason behind why we choose a technology to do some things. But the thing that motivates me to work on this technology is that I can see its direct impact on humans. I can see it as a product affecting people's life. So this is really fascinating for me. And this is all about machine learning. Thank you.
Yeah, I guess now you guys have a sort of understanding regarding what machine learning is, right? So, if you have any questions right now, please ask them in the chat box, or what type of scope is machine learning may have in the future. Any sort of questions that you might have, just ask them. Okay, there is one question. In which platform is it preferred? Okay, like as in what are you trying to ask? Like in which platform? Like as in you are asking about the language which is usually preferred to do that, or anything else? Language. Yeah, I guess Riyadidi can take it.
Language, basically Python is preferred. For machine learning, you can always use R also. R is basically used for statistical analysis, but basically we use Python. Most of us use Python for that.
Yeah, I guess regarding that, I also heard recently like there is a language called Julia also which can be used. I'm not so sure about that, but yeah. So like pretty much you can use any of your preferred language, but generally people use these type of languages because they already have a vast majority of work already done for you. Like there are like we in the previous session we explained you libraries and frameworks. Like you can understand it as someone else code. They have done the work for you most part, and you can just use it readily. So that will be easy in these languages. Yeah, any other questions or doubts you may have regarding machine learning and like any other stuff? Okay, when a site/app crashes, whose fault is it? The maker, or it just happens because of the data load? Okay, like I don't see it's related to machine learning, but to answer that question, like it could be anything. Basically, suppose if your server has limited resources, and by server I only mean the computer where your particular site or program is running or hosted. So suppose it has the capacity to only handle 10,000 requests at a time. Like basically only 10,000 users at a time can access it. Now these type of things happen if you are in second year, so you must have seen the result on cyber. Sometimes when we get our results, so what happens is many students request on the site at the same time, and they do not have that much resources. So sometimes it just crashes, server internal error. There are different errors, that might occur in that situation. Exactly, it depends on the situation and the availability of resources. Okay, regarding that, I always used to thought like regarding machine learning, I was also fascinated before. I always thought if someone could make me a homework doing machine, Like if basically machine can analyze, my handwriting, and while writing my homework, just can do some sort of variation. इससे टीचर को पता ना चले किसने करा होमवर्क, ठीक है? Not a very cool solution for teachers, but अगर कोई स्टूडेंट ये बना देता है तो I will be very happy for that. Maybe आगे वाले बच्चों को benefit मिलेगा इससे. These type of crazy things are actually possible using machine learning. Okay, there is a doubt regarding learning, how to start with machine learning. Like, if you could just tell us about a roadmap of how to do stuff in that.
Okay. पहले तो लैंग्वेज आनी चाहिए, पाइथन पे काफी अच्छी कमांड होनी चाहिए. Then you can switch go for machine learning stuff. You can start with data analysis stuff. Then we learn some machine learning algorithms, and then you can, मतलब ऐसा नहीं है कि एक एक चीज करनी है साथ में, लेकिन एक साथ कर सकते हैं, एक प्रोजेक्ट को ले सकते हैं. Python is worse. Can you be more specific? Okay. पाइथन की बेसिकली हमें बेसिक अंडरस्टैंडिंग होनी चाहिए, फॉर लूप्स, फाइल लूप्स कैसे काम कर रहे हैं, ठीक है. और एक हाई लेवल पे बोले तो ऊप्स की अंडरस्टैंडिंग भी होनी चाहिए बाद में, लेकिन स्टार्ट तुम कर सकते हो एक बेसिक पाइथन से भी. और पाइथन की लाइब्रेरीज जो होती हैं वो यूज होती हैं इसमें, पैंडास, नपपाई वगैरह. तो उनकी अंडरस्टैंडिंग तुम्हें प्रोजेक्ट्स करते करते आ जाएगी. तुम्हें एक साथ बैठ के कुछ नहीं करना है उसमें. You Google stuff, you do it. You basically you have to solve your errors. The machine learning is about that.
Okay, if anyone is thinking that they might want to go into machine learning in the future, please mention in the chat. Like, how many of you are actually fascinated by it? Like I was also fascinated about the machine learning and all that stuff. Like I also told you about it. But I don't really want to go right now. But how many of you are actually fascinated about it and you want to go into that? Okay, quite a few people. Okay, now if you could just tell us about some basic projects that we can begin with.
Okay, projects. We can begin with various projects like we basically work on Kaggle data sets. So they give us data sets, we have to perform our visualizations, and we have to make predictions on that based on the algorithms. So I started with the Titanic data set. So same as with you. I'm not fascinated but scared it chaotic.
Yeah, I do also get nightmares. Robots are taking over me. Like I literally do web development. Machine learning can anytime take my job. Okay, like they can always start making websites for us, and my job will be done.
बहुत time है अभी उसमें.
But anyways, तब तक मेरी generation ऐसे चली रहेगी. Like ठीक हो जाएगा सब कुछ.
It's not mostly maths. Who told you mostly maths? I said it's not mostly maths. Basically, एक algorithms की understanding के लिए you need maths. You need to have a basic logical understanding, and maths हमें अभी तक तो हम ऐसे पढ़ रहे थे 11th 12th में हम लोग ऐसे पढ़ते हैं कि हमें पता भी नहीं होता है वो लग कहाँ रही है. तो मशीन लर्निंग में तुम्हें पता चलेगा मैथ्स लगती कहाँ है. So थोड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग हो जाता है.
Actually, like finally maths का कुछ use तो आएगा life में भी. Like even when I was studying maths, like back in 11th 12th also, and in the first year of college also. Well, like I guess in the first year also we were studying something about like transformation, or I don't even remember the topic, but I asked the teacher कि लग कहाँ रही है, ठीक है? मतलब इसका यूज कहाँ हो रहा है, मतलब पढ़ तो लिया मैंने, हाँ इक्वेशन सॉल्व करनी आ गई, बट फायदा क्या है इस चीज, ठीक है? तो आई गेस मैंने 2-3 क्लासेस पूछा, फिर टीचर वाज आल्सो आउट ऑफ द आंसर्स, ठीक है? बट लाइक फैसिनेशन तो था, मतलब मैंने सर्च वगैरह करा, तो आई वाज नॉट इवन रियलाइजिंग दिस फैक्ट कि इवन छोटी छोटी जगह पे उनका यूज हो सकता है, ठीक है? लाइक जहां पे मैं सोच भी नहीं सकता था, इवन मेरी डेली लाइफ बंद हो जाएगी अगर वो किसी और ने इम्प्लीमेंट ना कर रखी हो, ठीक है? तो इतने से anyways, we'll be starting with cloud development very soon. Okay, if you guys are still getting any sort of doubts, okay, can any one of you guess कि मतलब ये इसका scope कितना होगा, like like jobs वगैरह जो है, like तुम्हें पता है कि इसकी कितनी पे हो सकती है, या फिर तुम like even everyone needs money at the end of the day, right? तो कितनी पेइंग हाई पेइंग जॉब्स हैं इसकी, कोई गेसेस वगैरह मतलब मारना चाहे चैट में, मतलब ठीक है? या फिर like software engineering department में highest paid job किसकी होती है? Anyone guessing regarding that? Average is 7 lakh in India. Okay. Anyone else? Raise the bar, dude. Raise the bar. In US, it is very high. Sort of the things that you have to deal with. But you can always earn more in India also if you are good at what you're doing. Okay, freshers के लिए इस फील्ड में jobs नहीं है, I think. Who said you that कि freshers के लिए job नहीं है?
Freshers के लिए job नहीं है इस फील्ड में. It's not like that. You have to start with the very basic thing, like small things. Freshers के लिए job इसलिए नहीं है because हम लोग क्या करते हैं, हम लोग basics को भूल जाते हैं और आगे jump pile on करने लगते हैं चीजों पे, like big things like image recognition and all, because वो हमें ज़्यादा fascinate करती है. But data analyst के लिए बहुत सारी job है as a data analyst. कहीं तो हमारे campus से भी होते हैं as a data analyst hire, I think.
Yeah, actually, like I have seen people from our campus going into that type of stuff also. Okay, मेरे पास दो cases हैं, मतलब I guess you might be interested in that, you know, like काफी अच्छे interesting cases हैं. You all have seen that Google reCAPTCHA thing, right? कि जब verify करना पड़ता है कि I am not a bot, so like they show us some sort of images, right? Yeah, you are familiar with that, I guess. Yeah, definitely. बिफोर दैट लाइक जॉब वाला जो था उसका मैं क्लियर करूंगा लास्ट में क्या था उसकी सैलरी कितनी है. बट रिगार्डिंग दैट रीकैप्चर थिंग, यू नो, उसमें काफी सारी मेरे साथ भी हमें भी बताना पड़ता है कौन सी ट्रैफिक लाइट है, कौन सी कार्स है एंड ऑल दैट स्टफ. ठीक है. अब भाई गूगल के पास भी तो मतलब लाइक हमें स्टार्टिंग में तो लिमिटेड ही काम करना पड़ेगा ना. हमें कंप्यूटर को पहले बताना पड़ेगा कि ये ट्रैफिक लाइट है, एक्चुअली हमें बताना पड़ेगा. तो एट द एंड ऑफ द डे लाइक मैंने लाइक आई हैव रेड दिस स्टडी, आई एम नॉट श्योर कि बिल्कुल सही था या नहीं था, बट जो वेरीफाइड यूजर, सपोज आप गूगल अकाउंट चला रहे हो काफी टाइम से, मतलब आपको 5-6 साल हो गए, फिर इवन 2-3 साल हो गए, आप दिन में 4-5 बार ही कैप्चा कर रहे हो, तो गूगल को पता है कि आप सही यूजर हो, तो वो इवन इनपुट आपसे ले लेता है. आपने जो इनपुट डाला ना वो कहेगा कि हाँ ये सही है, उससे भी वो अपना एमएल ट्रेनिंग करते हैं. तो दे हैव दीस स्नीकी वेज ऑफ ट्रेनिंग देयर, यू नो, मॉडल बेसिकली, दैट टाइप ऑफ स्टफ, द इमेज प्रोसेसिंग कांसेप्ट.
Yeah.
And someone said in the chat कि data scientist की pay बहुत high होती है, और it's a there is a reason, you know, like in the corona times, ठीक है, yeah, although like they interact with also other people, you know, economists and all that stuff to calculate what I'm about to say. but जैसे कोरोना है, ठीक है, तो लॉकडाउन स्टार्ट हुआ था काफी सारी कंट्रीज में, ठीक है, तो उन्होंने पूरा चार्ट बनाया कि किस टाइम पे हमें लॉकडाउन हटाना चाहिए कि सबसे कम हाई पाई केसेस. तो वो कैसे बनाया, वो काम कौन कर रहा है? वहां पे भी डेटा साइंटिस्ट बैठे हुए हैं जो बहुत सारे डेटा को एनालाइज कर रहे हैं. एक्चुअली मतलब लाइक ये सारी चीजें सारी जो भी है मतलब वो एमएल से ही रिलेटेड है. स्टार्टअप्स आर आल्सो फोकसिंग ऑन एमएल एंड डेटा फील्ड्स. मतलब कई चीजें ऐसी हैं कि जो हम एक्सपेक्ट करते हैं, मतलब आउट ऑफ द ब्लू. ठीक है, अगर किसी ने नेटफ्लिक्स या प्राइम वीडियो वगैरह चलाया, ठीक है, डेफिनेटली सबने चलाया होगा, इस साइट पर यूट्यूब भी चलाया होगा, तो आप अपनी होम फीड को बस स्क्रॉल करते रहते हो, आपको रिलेटेड कंटेंट मिलता रहता है. लाइक मोस्ट ऑफ द वीडियोस ऐसी होती है यार ये मुझे देखनी चाहिए, मतलब अच्छी लगे, वो इसलिए क्योंकि उसके पास पूरा डेटा है आपका. और अगर कोई नई सर्विस आप लॉन्च करते हो मार्केट में एज अ स्टार्टअप या फिर कुछ भी, तो पीपल विल एक्सपेक्ट दैट फ्रॉम यू. अब ये स्टैंडर्ड बन चुका है कि आपको लगानी पड़ेगी. सपोज मैं एक मतलब नई एप्लीकेशन लॉन्च कर देता हूँ वीडियो की और मैं रिकमेंडेशंस ना दूं, बट लोग चलाएंगे नहीं उसको क्योंकि वो बहुत ज्यादा उससे एक्सपेक्ट करते हैं. ठीक है, और वो इतनी छोटी छोटी जगह में लग चुकी है कि इट्स अनडिटैचेबल पार्ट ऑफ आवर, यू नो, करिकुलम nowadays. Anyways, if you guys still have any sort of doubts, तो आप पूछ सकते हो, मतलब when we should switch to cloud computing. ठीक है, कोई भी डाउट्स अगर अभी अनक्लियर रह जाता है आपका, टेलीग्राम पे पूछ सकते हो, आप इससे कनेक्ट कर सकते हो. ठीक है, I guess we can switch to cloud computing for now. Tell average salary.
Tell average salary.
Okay. So your salary is not depending upon the technology, not only on the technology, but also experience, location, and many more factors. So basically salary, average salary in India is around 10 lakh, I guess. So So it is not only about your skills. You have to be experienced for that. You need to be at a good location for that. You need to be at a good company for that. And basically all of this.
Basically, don't go after the average salary. Do you think you are average? No, right? Like you need to go above average. For those of you who are NEA fans, go beyond and ultra, right? So I guess cloud computing is on. So let's switch to Tanya Didi for cloud.
Okay.
Hello. Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, you are.
Yes, they are audible.
Yeah, okay. So is my PPT visible to everyone? Is my PPT visible?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So hello everyone. I am Tanya Chetna Vash, your technical lead for cloud computing at Developers Student Club, Graphicare University for the session 2020-21. Today on day 2 of a domain exploration session, I am going to brief you all about cloud computing. So before I begin, I just want to take a head count of students who know about cloud computing or have ever worked on it or are maybe interested in this technology. So can you please type all of those students who have heard about cloud computing or maybe interested, just please type yes in the chat box. And the students who don't know about cloud computing can please type no in the chat box. I will give you 2 minutes for it. Okay.
There are quite a lot of fields.
Oh, that's brilliant. Yeah, good. Okay, thank you for doing that, everyone. So lot many of you know about cloud computing. That's really amazing. Anyway, let's expect the numbers will rise more at the end of this session. So it's good to be hopeful always. So the first question that arises on hearing the term cloud computing, that what exactly is cloud computing? So just putting it straightforward, cloud computing is on-demand delivery of IT resources via internet with pay-as-you-go model. Too much of technical terms, right? On-demand delivery, IT resources, and pay-as-you-go model. So by IT resources, here I mean these are the general hardware and software components that are available around you physically and virtually. Physically, for example, if you buy a laptop or a whole computer system, you have your keyboard, your mouse, your basic laptop or outside structure and the inbuilt small components that make up a laptop. All those are the basic hardware structures. Then the software consists of the operating system, for example the Windows, the Linux, Ubuntu, and so on, other operating systems, and the other programs and applications that are installed on the OS. For example, the notepad, the other audio video players applications, and then maybe other Excel, PowerPoint softwares and applications, and so on. Hardware is basically CPU, and RAM and software is your OS and other application and programs. Then by on-demand delivery, here I mean that all these resources, all these services are available to you as and when required by you. For example, I will explain the on-demand delivery term and the pay-as-you-go term together by this example. For example, you want to buy, for example, you want to buy a pizza, you want to order a pizza at your home, you really want to eat a pizza. So what you do, you just open the app on your mobile phone, any Domino's, Pizza Hut pizza app, and you just place your order on it, make your choice and place your order, pay for it, or make it the cash on delivery. So what you are ordering a pizza for yourself at your comfort, at your need, whenever wherever you want it. Okay, it's not that you have to go somewhere after ordering from an app. It depends upon you that if you want the cash, if you want the pizza to be delivered, if you want to go and pick up your pizza from the pizza joint, it's up to you, but it's on your demand. You are just demanding for it and you are getting it. So that is what on demand delivery means. And with pay as you go model, it means that you are paying only for that pizza which you are buying. You're not paying a price for the whole of the menu that is available on the app. You're only paying for the pizza that you bought, and that's it. So that is what on-demand delivery and pay-as-you-go model mean. For example, if you want to buy a laptop, so you go to a store, you check all the resources, all the specs for the laptop you want to buy, and then you place your order. And if the laptop is not available, then you maybe have to wait for a few days, and that's it. You might have to wait for a many number of days, and maybe you need to pay a large amount for that as well. So what cloud computing offers you is that instead of buying a laptop physically, you can rent a laptop online. Only the prerequisite is that you should have an active internet connection, and of course electricity for the same, and any device which you can access the laptop on the internet. And that's it. You can rent the laptop, you can use it for all the services, like for hosting a website, or can playing any song or watching a movie or anything. You can use that rented laptop for whatever need you want to do on that. So next, and after that, and after your job is done, you can just dump that laptop or discard it. It's up to you. You can store the data that is being generated on that laptop as per your need, or you can also dump that as well. So it's just like buying or renting a car or a bike, as you know. Only that everything is happening virtually. Nothing is physical here, apart from giving the instructions and everything. So cloud computing is a technology that is being used by all kinds of enterprises. Can it be a small, medium, large, or an industry? And they are using it for a large number of emerging services such as machine learning and artificial intelligence, as Ria must have mentioned in front of you. And then there is blockchain technology and Internet of Things as well, where the cloud computing is taking a big spike as well in major companies. For the companies, many companies are shifting to cloud for a large number of services and resources because it is cheaper and it is really easily available. Then moving on, in these times of pandemic, that is, I guess, more than 7 months as of now, most of the activities are done online. That is in the field of education. For example, for the first year students present here, maybe the admission and the counseling would have been done online, and now your classes are being going online. Second, third year students examinations would have been held online, and everything would have been going online. And then it could be in the field of business, where all the transactions are being done, marketing and everything is done online, and all the jobs and all the placement operations have, even for all the companies and firms, have shifted online, and are going to be that way, I guess, for one more year, and I guess forward. And then there is, of course, there is this entertainment industry, as we know, and other social media apps that we use day to day. Therefore, a lot amount of data is being generated, which needs to be maintained and handled securely. So how can we do that now? Not every person can buy multiple hard disk, 1 TB of hard disk, 3 TB of hard disk, or can buy a pen drive and other storage devices to manage such humongous amount of data, right? So I guess most of you would have an app on your Android devices. This is for the Android users, that looks just like this. So can you guys just spam the chat box with the name of this app if you know? No, it's not OneDrive, it's Google Drive. Dhruv Sharma.
indeed spam it.
Okay, it's of course it's Google Drive, a cloud-based storage service that is provided by Google, with a lot more collaborated services like Google Forms. I guess second, third year students would have been filling a Google form at least every week. And then there is Google Sheets, that is just like Microsoft Excel. Then Google Slides, just like your Microsoft PowerPoint. And of course Google Docs, and many other services just like these on Google Drive, collaborated with it. So now when you create a Google or a Gmail account, and I guess everyone would be having at least one Gmail account. So what you are entitled to receive almost 15 GB of Google Drive storage free of cost. Now it's up to you how you want to use this 15 GB of storage. At least once everyone must have used this storage based services provided by Google, either to store WhatsApp backups if your phone crashes, or you want to switch to another phone, or to back up your photos or audio files, video files, PDFs, forms, so and so on. The list is unending. So if right now if you have the app, for the Android users, if you have this app, and for the non-Android users, you can open the iCloud. If you open the app right now, I sure you will find some data residing on that drive. Can it be PDF or file or any other? Just something would definitely be there. You could have opened any file at some point of time, or any PDF or any form, it would be there. So what Google Drive does, it provides us remote access on any device of your choice. Now, all of this is done via internet on cloud. Now, one question that would have be arising on your mind, that what is this cloud that I have been talking to you about for the past 5 minutes? But when I say cloud, I don't really mean that these are the floating structures or water above us. But what I actually refer to are these servers, and these servers that are accessed over the internet and also works in conjunction with the software and the database which works on these servers. So all in all, cloud consists of works in collaboration, consists of the servers, the applications, the database, and the other programs which work in collaboration with each other, in sync with each other, so that they provide us the resources and the service on demand as per our need, at whatever place we want, and at a at a really fast pace. So the cloud got its name from the times when the outline of the cloud was used to demonstrate a network or just anything complex that happened via internet. Since then, it is now a complete new technology, providing remote and fast delivery of resources, as I mentioned. Now, when I said servers, you would be wondering what server actually is. What is this physical resource that I have been talking about? So when I say server is basically a piece of a computer hardware or a software, or can be a program, that provides us the resources and the applications and the other basic requirements that we have for a computer, maybe a complete computer that a user needs. Okay, for example, if you want like instead of if for example, if you want to have a Windows OS, from you want to access a Windows OS from a mobile phone, so you can just log in into the cloud computing service provider, and you can just enter instructions, fill up your needs, and that's it. You will have a Windows software system running for you, and you can use it for whatever need you want. Now these servers can be located in any part of the world. In what we know now are the data centers, and it is because of these servers that you can open your Google Drive, or you can open your Google Photos or any other social media apps like Instagram or Facebook, and you can find your data, chat, videos, photos, everything right where you left it. You don't need to worry about where that data would go, or if that data would get hacked or accessed by someone else. You are completely free of that tension, that you don't even, you just open a Instagram at 11 at night, and then next morning you just go back to sleep. You know that no one would be accessing your data, and no would be using it for some bad purpose or anything, because it is secure, it is remote, everything is going on according to you, and yet it is secured for you. Now to understand cloud computing more efficiently, let's consider a use case. For example, you created a web page or a web app, and you want to host it. Now let's, instead of creating a web page or a web app of your own, but I guess a web development session had happened, so you would be having knowledge about how to, and how website gets developed, and the basic technical idea about it. So for example, let's take an example of Netflix. When For Netflix to exist around us, so that we can binge watch it at our comfort, so what resources Netflix needs to be available to us at such ease? So what resources would you need for hosting any website or your own, or what resources Netflix would be needing to for providing such great availability to all of us? So can you all just tell me about the resources that you would be needing for the same in the chat box, please? For hosting a website, of course. For hosting a website, or maybe what resources Netflix would be using, so that we can access it from anywhere, from any part of the world, or from on any device. Okay, okay. Of course, you would be needing a website for hosting it. A platform to store information, of course, you would be needing, because a large amount of data would be generated. Okay, okay. Thank you everyone for that. So for hosting a website, or for website like Netflix, the resources which you would be needing are the servers, of course, as I mentioned, cloud servers, and then there would be a large amount of traffic. Now, from traffic here, I mean that sometimes more users would be accessing your website, leading to more utilization of resources and increasing load, as was mentioned by one of the fellows in the chat box a few minutes ago. So when more users access a website, then it increases the load for you, and when less users are accessing a website, then it decreases the load, thereby less utilization of resources is being done. So that is what traffic means. So you need some tools or some services to manage the traffic on a website. And then of course there is monitoring and maintenance. From monitoring and maintenance here, I mean that monitoring is basically the examining that everything is working fine. For example, if you're having a website, you have to ensure that their website is like nicely easily accessible from anyone from anywhere. You don't have to the site doesn't crash or some bug doesn't arise while accessing while accessing the website. And of course the maintenance, that you have to ensure that everything remains fine and nothing goes wrong. So, and of course then there, as mentioned, you have to, the data would be generated which you have to maintain and have to secure it, because it's your website and the data is for you, for your requirement and analysis, as mentioned by Ria, that you have to analyze this data for as per your need, for your advantages. So the disadvantages that would arise would be that the servers are very costly, because these servers are physical resources, and as of now, each server for setting up a web servers for a website globally, you will need around $10,000 to $15,000. And if you convert this $10,000 to $15,000 into rupees, I guess that would be a great amount. And I guess not everyone has that amount with them, that much amount with them for hosting a website or doing something like that for a website. And then of course the traffic, as I said, more utilization of resources. So more resources you will need, otherwise the load will increase and the site might crash. And then of course the monitoring and maintenance, that you might need to employ the professionals for monitoring the data and for maintaining the data, and then the electricity cost and the resources management and the updation and everything, and the business related issues, that business related issues might arise, that the professionals might not be in sync with each other, or they might arouse some chaos because due to updations, a professional might not be trained based on the updations in the current industry and so on. So what if too much this all of this will cause a great amount of headache for you. So what if I say that there is a one step solution to all of this, and there's a one technology that solves all of this for you, and that is cloud computing. So you get all this: servers, maintenance, monitoring, traffic management, and then storage management services, as I said, at a single place. And that is at a single place at a really cheap cost, as I mentioned. And yes, it will decrease the tension and the headache for you. So cloud computing is that technology. And there are various cloud service providers as well, which provide us with this with the services and the technology of cloud computing. So has anyone heard of any cloud service provider, or have it in any workshop, anything? So can you please mention in the chat box, please? Okay. Yeah, IBM Cloud, AWS, Microsoft Azure, GCP. Okay. So most of you have heard about it. That's amazing. You all guys have idea about cloud and cloud service providers. So as mentioned by you is Google Cloud Platform. Now Google Cloud Platform is used by LinkedIn, and then there is Amazon Web Services, and yeah, Microsoft Azure, as you mentioned. IBM Cloud is also there. GCP is used by LinkedIn. If you don't have an account on LinkedIn, if you haven't heard about LinkedIn, then I should say that go and check it out, and you should definitely build a profile on LinkedIn if you want to get a job or do some exploration and get some exposure. Then of course go and check out LinkedIn. And then there is AWS, which is like the most widely used cloud service provider right now. And as I mentioned, Netflix uses AWS for most of its computing and storage needs. Mostly, I guess almost all of its computing and storage needs. Netflix uses Amazon Web Services, and even the iCloud for the non-Android iPhone users. I guess iCloud uses most of the services of IBM Cloud and storage services of AWS. And then there were this Spotify, Snapchat, and so on for AWS. And then for Microsoft Azure is used by eBay, Samsung, BMW, and so on. So let's now that you have now got a technical idea about cloud computing, let's dive in more and discuss about the types of cloud computing. Let's talk about types of cloud computing, beginning with the deployment models. There are 4 types of cloud in terms of cloud deployment models, that is public, private, hybrid, and community. Let's talk about 3 in general. Public cloud, as I mentioned, the cloud service providers, those 3 that I mentioned were the public cloud platforms available for you. And that means those cloud service providers, GCP, AWS, and Microsoft Azure or IBM Cloud, you can access it easily. Once you just need to get the URL of that site, and that's it, you can use it as per your need, as per your requirement. And even industries and companies like, as I mentioned, Netflix and LinkedIn are using it for as per their need. So yeah, these are the examples of the public cloud, and they are easy, quick. They can be easily scaled and are very convenient to us. And then there is private cloud that are limited to a particular organization. Now these types of cloud are pretty much secure. Like in case of public cloud, the data is accessible from anyone can access the data provided they have the credentials. But in case of private cloud, the data is much more secure, because it is limited to a particular organization and it is not global or anything. And then next is hybrid cloud, that is formed by the conjunction of public and the private cloud. Both public and private cloud makes up the hybrid cloud. So I guess that was all about the types of cloud in terms of cloud deployment models. Then there are the service models as well, that is IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS. IaaS is infrastructure as a service, PaaS is platform as a service, and SaaS is software as a service. Now, all these services provide some resources that are managed or handled by us, while some of the services they manage themselves. So now let's take an example to explain each of these services in a more general or a simplified way. For example, let's talk about a pizza delivery system. Now, when you order a pizza online, that is via an app or a browser, as I mentioned, and get it delivered to your doorstep without doing much of work, now that is software as a service. That means you just feed your instructions on the app, you make your choice, and then place an order and get your pizza delivered to your doorstep. So that is software as a service, like Domino's and everything. So the best example for software as a service is like your Gmail account, the Gmail that you get, where you get your mails delivered and you don't need to get any headache or tension about your mails, and everything remains secure and everything remains there where you left it. You just need to log in and check your mails and everything. Then there is a platform as a service for that. Next, if you go to any pizza joint by yourself, and then you place an order there, and then you collect your pizza directly from the store, that is platform as a service. Now, for giving a technical example for platform as a service, there is Facebook. For infrastructure as a service, for example, if you buy all the resources for cooking a pizza by yourself, like all the veggies, the toppings, the cheese, the pizza base, and everything for yourself, and then you cook a pizza for yourself at your home, at your comfort and at your taste, then that is infrastructure as a service. And the best example for infrastructure as a service technically is AWS, used by Netflix, and of course GCP, Microsoft Azure. So I guess that was not exactly what the SaaS, PaaS, and IaaS means, but it was what I wanted to tell you about the managed and the unmanaged services under these models. So lastly, that was all about the models, types of cloud, and the deployment and the service models under them. Lastly, let's talk about the scope of cloud computing, which I guess everyone would be thinking about foremost. Cloud computing is a fast growing technology that brings a great opportunities to freshers. There are large number of roles specific to this domain, such as cloud infrastructure engineer, cloud architect, cloud enterprise architect, cloud software engineer, so on and so on. And as per reports, there is a massive demand in this field for professionals in this field. So the demand of professionals with knowledge of cloud computing is expected to rise exponentially. because more and more companies, as I said, are implementing this technology and are shifting their services and jobs and everything to cloud and of course online data generated and everything. So currently, as per the reports, an entry level job in this sector provides, I guess, a salary starting from 5 lakhs per year and goes up to 10 lakhs per year. And but as you gain experience, you will earn more like a cloud computing professional. Like mid-level managers make up to like 20 lakhs per year, 20 lakhs per year. While senior cloud professionals, I have to say the senior cloud professionals with 15 plus years of experience makes more than 1 crore per year. Fantastic, right? Now, due to this massive shortage of talent, there is a massive shortage of talent in this sector as well. So there is a huge amount of cloud computing professionals, and therefore companies are providing great salaries to the cloud computing professionals due to this great demand and shortage. Now there are various certifications available provided by the cloud service providers, of course, such as AWS Certified Solutions Architect and Azure Infrastructure Solutions. You can learn these skills from cloud service providers, under cloud service providers and their professionals, and then get certified in these fields. And what the benefit you will have, that you will become a highly in demand professional. The most recent example that I can place in front of you is from our college, that is recently in this month only. There were open 30 vacancies for AWS solution architect certified students. That is, if a student was AWS solution architect certified, he could straight away bag a job at this company. He just need to be a certified student in that field. How amazing, right? Like having a certification could straight away bag you a job, and you don't need to go through the multiple rounds and the sessions that are being held for getting a job. So cloud computing, what I want to tell to you all, that cloud computing doesn't require much of coding knowledge. Having a mid-level knowledge about the services available on cloud service providers and how to use them can be enough. And getting certified in this technology under any cloud service provider is of major advantage, or I should say really mandatory. It helps you stand out. So here I have hosted a simple website on AWS. You can use the given URL and access it from your browsers at this very moment. So just type this type this web URL on your browsers and just go and check it out. Check the website out. So just do it right now. And if you have accessed it, then please say a type yes in the chat box. Okay, the site is accessible. So that is what I wanted to tell you, that by this I wanted to tell you that how helpful cloud computing is. That, for example, if you have created a project and if you want to showcase it to your friends, and if you want to showcase it to your friend that is sitting in a different part of the world or maybe in a different state, and you want to show your project to him or her. So what you can do, you can just host it like this, or you can put it on a website, upload it on a website, and then you can share the your URL to your friend or to these fellow mates that you want to show your project to. And the rest all is done. They can just visit the page and they can view your project, and then you will get all the applause for it. Next, it's up to you how deep you want to dive into cloud computing and what certifications and what level you want to achieve in this field. So it's everything is up to you. It's just about the skills and mid-level knowledge that makes you a cloud computing professional, I guess. So that was all about cloud computing from my side in today's domain exploration session. Thank you, everyone. I hope I was able to give a basic overview about this technology and spark your interest in this field. Now, if you have any questions or any queries regarding this session or regarding this technology, you can just type in the chat box. Thank you, everyone. Over to you, Aman.
Yeah, I guess most of your queries regarding cloud computing at least must be clear, right? I hope so. But if you have any sort of questions regarding anything, please ask them on the chat box. And we'll also be having a very important announcement by Parthiv in the last. Before that, like, yeah, you all have seen that example, right? Like, the URL is still mentioned in the chat box, right? So I guess if I ask Sanidhi, like, how much time did it take you to do that? Like, how much time you can, like,
For learning cloud computing.
no, like, just like, how much time did it take you to just host this website online in AWS maybe?
I guess since if you have knowledge about how to do it and if you know the steps, so I guess it will take you around 5 to 10 minutes or even less, I guess, for doing that. It's just a simple website. If you would see, it's just a simple website, just a few lines written on it, and you just need to have a domain name and that's it. You can host it. You just need to know these steps for it. 5 to 10 minutes is, I guess, enough for doing that, or even less.
Think of it like in 5 minutes, you can transfer information, like just show whatever you are doing to the whole world in like 5 minutes. No, we
Exactly.
took cloud in the last because now you have understanding of other major domains and what type of things you can do. We talked about ML recently, and like suppose like if you go for a whole application, you if you go for ML and AI, so you can definitely make a model and work upon the recommendation system, all that type of stuff. Web development or app development, you can definitely make a website or a web app and a mobile app for your, for anything, any software you want to make or anything you want to create. And now finally, to distribute it to the world and manage it, like all those things, like you would be getting a lot of requests to manage all the stuff, the data you will be getting for the users, you can finally do it in the cloud. So basically, if you combine these things, you may call it as a full stack solution. Like, that's what it is about. Apart from that, I guess there are some doubts in the chat. Okay, will you guys explore blockchain? Surely, if we get the chance, and if many of you are interested in blockchain also, so we'll be taking a session up for that. Basically we have time, so I might just just give you a brief overview about this. Like, it's really a buzzword like blockchain nowadays, and it's getting really popular, like real fast. It basically like the whole concept is to decentralize everything. All the data you have, just decentralize it. Like, instead of keeping it at one place, divide it. Okay. And now it might seem odd, but some of you guys have heard about Bitcoin. Okay, give me a yes, please, if you have heard about Bitcoin and any other virtual currencies. Yes, definitely. So all those things work upon the concept of blockchain. There is no record of anything in one place. Okay, there was a particular question. If a data center of a certain region of one of the service providers got hacked, what will happen to the user's data? Anandi, if you can take that up.
Well, I haven't really heard about anything that has happened.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Yeah, if it's not too much to ask, can I answer this question?
Yeah,
Yes,
definitely.
you
We'll
can.
be very happy
Yeah.
to hear.
So your question is, if a data center of a certain region of one of the service providers got hacked, and what will happen to users' data? Well, before I answer your question, let me tell you one factual thing. Almost all the service providers in the cloud domain, especially the top three, Google, Amazon, and Microsoft, these three have a data reliability of 99.999, 11 nines percent, which means that your data, it is 99.999 and 11 nines. It is very popularly called 11 nines. So I'll be referring it to your data is 11 9% secure, reliable, and available, which means that if you are accessing your site or if you are accessing your data that is being hosted or that is being kept on cloud, there is 11 nines probability that you will be getting your data in time, secure, and reliable. And for your question, for your specific question, if any of the certain regions of one of the service providers got hacked, well, let me tell you one thing. There has not been a single instance of any cloud providers service center or service provider's data center being hacked. No such instance since the advent of cloud computing. You can check up the records anytime. That is why people are opting for cloud, because it has security. And moreover, if the data, even if we take 0.00001% probability that your service provider's data center got hacked, then the responsibility for that will be on the service provider, and they have certain other backups and all sort of a thing to prevent this kind of situation anytime. So don't worry, there is no such case ever that has happened of any data center getting hacked. As a matter of fact, people are opting cloud because it relieves them of this, tension that now I have my infrastructure, I have to keep it secure, I have to make sure it doesn't get hacked. No, you're free from all those tensions, because that all has been taken responsibility for by the service provider. I hope you got your answer, Rakshat.
Yeah, definitely. Like that explanation is like very much indeed. Like all the data you have on the cloud is indeed secure. Suppose you have a hard disk. Like recently, I was going through my old files. This old hard disk I had, like external hard disk, and when I plugged in, it was not working. So all the things I did for the like past 6 years, it's gone. Even if your hard copies of data gets broken, it's literally gone if you don't back up it. What we usually do is to make our data secure, we go to the cloud. And if you're saying the cloud is not secure, like I don't think so. We can do anything else, right? Like data is indeed 100% secure. Okay, suppose you are hosting, you are a startup, or maybe you have all the data in your own service. You are maybe interested in these type of things. Maybe you are making your own server, and you are also backupping the data, which is right next to it. The both the servers are stacked right next to each other in a physical space. All I've got to do is maybe destroy those servers through some hammer, or maybe just launch a rocket launcher at it, and boom, your startup is indeed destroyed. You do not have the backup anywhere else. This is literally not the case in cloud. They are so much secure that if you like, even if the whole server farm, like basically they call it server farms, like where all the all huge computers are there, to store the data and do all the processing. If even 3 of those server farms gets blown away at the same time, your data is still secure. There are this many level of security and copies of your data. So these all the things are like indeed amazing to see. There are any other doubts? Yes, I got my answer, but is security a disadvantage of cloud computing? Okay. I don't see security being a disadvantage. Like for those of you who are studying cloud computing in the maybe third semester, we write this point as we are using a cloud provider, so our data is not that secure. I guess some of you might have answered this, during the assignments given to them. But that point is true, but up to a very less extent. Your data is most secure in the cloud. That's that. I hope your questions answer is clear regarding that. Do you guys still have any other sort of doubts? And if you still have any sort of doubts regarding any of the domains, please ask them right now. And maybe you can also ask and ping us on the Telegram. Before moving ahead with other things, like we told you about the important announcement Karthik Bhaiya had. So I guess on to Karthik Bhaiya regarding that announcement.
Yeah, hi guys. So before I begin with that, I would just like to brief you all with my, brief introduction. So I hope most of you might be knowing me already, but for those who don't know me, my name is Karthik Sahani, and I'm currently in BTech fourth year, and I'm a very big cloud enthusiast, very big. And as a matter of fact, I have been certified in 2 of the major cloud service providers, that is AWS and Oracle. And very recently, I've been giving a training program to the students of a college about GCP, Google Cloud Platform. So regarding the announcement, I was just viewing some of the questions and some of the queries put up in the DSC groups as well, and I noticed that a lot of you were interested into cloud, but you did not have any such idea about what cloud actually is. Not just about AWS, GCP, or Azure, but actually it was, what kind of a thing. You don't have any introductions or basics. So for that, I have planned, and I will be very soon launching a program wherein I will be taking up a week's time, and I will be teaching you the basics of cloud computing. Everything from virtualization to why cloud is actually required. Here in this session, Tanya very beautifully explained why cloud was required and all those. And I hope you might have understood, but we will go in depth. Now, how we will do, what task we can do on the cloud, how cloud actually works, or how cloud computing technology actually came into actual, there was the need, why there was the need to begin with the cloud itself. So all those topics will be covered in those program. And the major highlight which you all might be excited about is that no fees will be charged. It will be absolutely free of cost for you guys. And I will be taking up it very soon, and the dates will be announced tentatively by the next 2 or 3 days. So I am looking forward to seeing maximum participation from you guys, so that you can learn about cloud computing and see if you really like it, then you can move on and explore further. So that was my announcement, and yeah, Aman, you can take it.
This seems really great because like even I've been wanting like you guys must be knowing that there's a program we have right now going on, that is 30 days of full cloud, and even I am doing it with you all guys. It's the same thing for me also. Like if I talk about myself, previously I was not much interested into cloud computing and all that, and I'm not a person who would just get manipulated very easily, right? So basically, how I got to realize the power of cloud computing is like, of course, through Karthik and other people. But when I really faced those problems, I guess there was some sort of situation put against me. I myself is a web developer, and like if for those of you who are actually into this field, there are actually platforms available which do these things for free also. Like there are some sort of free tiers, they are also available in cloud, but they all do all the things for yourself. Like I was like, why do we even need cloud? I was not really convinced with it. But now that I saw some examples and faced the situation myself, for example, talk about Netflix. You must have seen the difference, in the streaming of different platforms. If I talk about it, the perfect example would be YouTube. Sometimes it happens that in some other application, your video stream is lagging. If there is some sort of third-party application or that application is not so popular, there are 100% chances that at the same speed, your stream might lag in some other application, but it will run smoothly in YouTube. I've seen this for myself, and it's due to the fact that how optimized YouTube is and how they deliver content to you. They have servers all over the world, like GCP, like they must be using GCP for themselves, right? And Netflix uses AWS for the same purpose. They have servers available worldwide. If you got to fetch data every time from the US server, suppose you are in US and you hosted a website there in your room, so it would be very hard to reach to us. The data would be getting through a long route. So there would be some sort of delay. But what cloud does it, that it has servers worldwide, and we can access the data from wherever it is, the shortest path. So that's the best part is I have seen the difference in the production applications. They become so fast, so efficient, and the bills also go very down. So even if you are not, going fully into cloud computing and all that stuff, you should have an understanding about it. I don't remember, but some of you might have seen that viral video. In which guy was explaining that cloud is there, तो अगर वो बादल चले गए तो हमारा data भी आगे चला गया. So instead of becoming like that person, you should have a knowledge of every other domain. Yeah, well, I guess we finished it early. That's great. Yeah, I guess we finished it quite early. And if you guys have any sort of doubts, we are available for, I guess, 5-10 minutes more. Please ask them in the chat, and then we can wrap things up. Blockchain.
Okay, so Devrat has one doubt about blockchain. So Anand, would you like to take this doubt?
Anand bhai, are you available? Yeah, he's available. Meanwhile, Anand bhaiya gets online. Like I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah, I would like to explain it like, see, blockchain, the major concept in blockchain is transaction management system. You know, whatever transactions in terms of, every, so let's take an example of cryptocurrency and, online e-wallets like those offered by Google Pay and UPI wallets. These all systems have been developed. Now, every transaction you have made, you need to have a record of the previous transactions you made so that you can go back in history and access those transactions. And blockchain has a very big application in these kind of transaction management system, where each single transaction has been given a single block, and all those similar or related blocks are connected to each other. For a particular user, you can go back through that chain and access all the transactions that had taken place in the history for that. And in detail, Anant will going to explain you what actually and in depth blockchain is. Anant, you can take it from here.
And bhaiya, you are not audible actually. If you could like maybe just switch mics or something.
Yeah, he's seeking for a second.
Okay. Before moving ahead with blockchain explanation, do you guys still have any other doubts? Just mention them in the chat. I guess we still have time on our watches, so we are here for like another 5-10 minutes.
Aman, am I audible now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. The browser was crashing. So what was the question? Can someone please repeat it?
Yeah, like basically he's asking about, like what's the use case of blockchain and what it really is, like what problem does it solve?
Okay, ठीक है, थोड़ा सा वो बेसिक चीज से देखते हैं, ठीक है। ब्लॉकचेन की एग्जिस्टेंस क्यों आई गई थी, पहले तो अब ये समझना जरूरी है। ऑल इसके लिए हमें एक पूरा सेशन चाहिए, बट आई ट्राई थोड़ा शॉर्ट में समझ में आया तो। किसी को पता ब्लॉकचेन क्यों आया था? इस किसी को भी पता हो तो ऐसे चैट में लिख सकते हैं, बट आई सपोज शायद नहीं पता होगा, क्योंकि सबने सिर्फ ब्लॉकचेन का नाम सुना है और ब्लॉकचेन को सब लोग ऐसे देखते हैं कि हाँ हम लोग जो है बिटकॉइन या इथेरियम इन सब चीज़ों के यूज़ करके हम लोग ब्लॉकचेन का इस्तेमाल करेंगे, ठीक है। तो कोई बात नहीं। तो ब्लॉकचेन का एग्जिस्टेंस इसलिए लेट्स से डिसेंट्रलाइज करेंसी की ज़रूरत की वजह से, हाँ ठीक है। समवन रोट की टू रिमूव गवर्नमेंट डिपेंडेंसी ऑन करेंसी। ओके, सो ज़रूरत की पड़ी फिर गवर्नमेंट डिपेंडेंसी ऑन करेंसी इस चीज़ के लिए। किसी को डिसेंट्रलाइज करेंसी का कॉन्सेप्ट पता है? ठीक है। डेमोक्रेसी का कॉन्सेप्ट पता है? डेमोक्रेसी क्या होती है? अकॉर्डिंग टू अब्राहम लिंकन, डेमोक्रेसी इज टू द पीपल, फॉर द पीपल एंड बाय द पीपल। ओके, सो क्रिप्टो करेंसी भी इसी एक कॉन्सेप्ट के ऊपर आई गई थी। It is to the people, for the people, and by the people. Because let's just say you are in US and your currency, I mean, if exchange rate is something around 72 rupees. But in case of cryptocurrency, it is not like that. If something is 1 Bitcoin, then its value is 1 Bitcoin. If I am in US, the currency is still 1 Bitcoin. If I am in India, the currency is still Bitcoin. But obviously, हम लोग उसे अगर एक्सचेंज रेट के बेसिस पे देख रहे हैं तो तुम्हारी जो मनी है वो चेंज हो जाएगी। लेकिन जो बिटकॉइन का कॉन्सेप्ट, मेन कॉन्सेप्ट जो बिटकॉइन का था वो ये था कि ताकि हम लोग एक ऐसी करेंसी डेवलप कर सकें जिसे हम यूनिवर्सली कहीं भी इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं विदाउट एनी एक्सचेंज रेट्स, ठीक है। पहला कॉन्सेप्ट तो ये था। दूसरा बिट करेंसी जो हमारा क्रिप्टो करेंसी है या फिर जो तुम्हारा बिटकॉइन है, बिटकॉइन तो चलो साइड कर देते हैं, क्रिप्टो करेंसी जो है, ठीक है, ये हमारी इसीलिए आई गई। एक और इसके पीछे रीज़न ये भी है कि फॉर एग्जांपल चेनिंग, किसी ने चेनिंग का अगर कॉन्सेप्ट अगर कभी सुना हो, अगर नहीं भी सुना है तो कोई बात नहीं, उसके मैं किसी ना किसी प्रोफेशनल को पकड़ कर ले आऊँगा कहीं ना कहीं से, जो तुम्हें इस बारे में समझा देगा ज़्यादा। तो चेनिंग इज लाइक, लेट जस्ट से यू आर, तुम्हारे पास एक लैंड है, ओके, एंड गवर्नमेंट ने वो लैंड तुमसे ले ली, ठीक है, तो वो क्या हुई, एक ट्रांजैक्शन हुई तुम दोनों लोगों के बीच। अब इसका एक रिकॉर्ड मेंटेन हुआ। अब क्या हुआ कि जब थर्ड पर्सन, ये एक एग्जांपल है, ठीक है, बिटकॉइन का उसका क्रिप्टो करेंसी का, ठीक है, तो पहला फार्मर की लैंड जो है वो गवर्नमेंट ने ले ली और गवर्नमेंट से वो लैंड उन्होंने किसी प्राइवेट वेंडर को बेच दी। तो दो ट्रांजैक्शन हुई, फर्स्ट पर्सन से थर्ड पर्सन तक। इसके बीच में हमें अगर ये पता लगाना है कि हाँ इस ये लास्ट में, दैट मीन्स जो लैंड किसी प्राइवेट एजेंसी के पास है, अगर हमें ये चेक करना है कि ये कहाँ कौन से राउट से ट्रैवल होके हमारे पास पहुंची है, तो हम लोग उस जो हमारा बिटकॉइन या फिर मतलब जिस टर्म के लिए तुम बिटकॉइन यूज़ कर रहे हो, क्रिप्टो करेंसी यूज़ कर रहे हो, हम उसका जो मैप है उसको बैक ट्रैक करना शुरू करेंगे। तो अगर हमने बैक ट्रैक करना शुरू करा है तब हम ये फाइंड आउट कर सकते हैं हाँ ये बेसिकली इस फार्मर के पास थी, देन इट वाज गिवन टू दैट पर्टिकुलर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, देन इट इज कमिंग टू अस। So basic concept of cryptography, I mean cryptocurrency is this. I think this will give you a little bit of idea that what is cryptocurrency.
Okay, I guess that's that. Okay, like as we still had time, so I thought like let's do one more thing. Okay, like there are very few people left nowadays, like now, who are just like basically interact with us mostly. So now like all the doubts are clear, right? Like if you still have any doubts, you can always ask on the Telegram group and stuff. So like blockchain वगैरह की बात हो रही है या फिर
Aman,
decentralized.
there is one more announcement. Can I make it right now?
Yeah,
Actually,
sure.
I was not planning to do it, but I think yeah we can do it.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so let me share my screen.
Mhm.
Your entire screen. Okay, so there are many tabs open, so don't get scared. Okay, I think my screen is visible now.
Yeah, it's visible.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll go to LinkedIn. And what I'm planning to do is there are two people I've been talking for last, I guess, 5 to 6 days. And one of them is, yeah. One is Gaurav Sharma from Red Hat. He's the associate solution architect for Red Hat and very great guy. And second one is,
sorry to interrupt, but those of you who don't know what is Red Hat, it's not only operating system, it's a vast enterprise organization. Okay.
don't worry, there is another person. And this is Sumantro Mukherjee. He is the project org admin for Fedora. And he's also a GSOC GSOC mentor for this last year. Okay, I mean, and he's one of those people जिनका नाम जो है Mozilla ने अपने बोर्ड पे लिखा हुआ है. There are only 15 to 16 people जिनका नाम लिखा गया है, इसमें से Sumantro sir एक और है, ठीक है. He's on different level. So I'm thinking कि हम इनको लेकर आए और ये लोग थोड़ा बहुत हमें ओपन सोर्स के बारे में बताएं क्या होता है और कैसे कैसे तैयारी करनी चाहिए. तो yeah.
Okay, if you guys are interested, please at least show some interaction in the chat. That's how only we know कि you are still alive in the meeting. So yeah, as I was saying कि काफी कम लोग बचे हैं presentation like in the meeting.
Okay.
So maybe we also don't get time to talk about all these awesome things, new development things, and mostly like basics रहे हो जाते हैं. So maybe in the last few minutes, अगर किसी को लगता है कि उनको mic open करना है, बोलना है, like any sort of let's make it informal. The session has mostly ended, right? We got time, so maybe I thought we can interact and maybe tell you guys more things. अगर किसी को भी लगता है इसको mic open करके बोलना है anything, don't hesitate. just
ओके, कुमार हर्ष ने ये लिखा है कि नो ब्लॉकचेन इज अबाउट द आर्ट ऑफ कीपिंग 100% ट्रांसपेरेंसी एंड सिक्योरिटी इन ट्रांजैक्शन. ऑब्वियसली मैंने मना नहीं करा.
किसी ने
I'm-
तरीका पहले पूछ लिया.
I'm just saying that I'm not a perfect person to write up, I mean, to give you a perfect answer on this topic. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, besides machine learning and blockchain, I think you can ask me pretty much everything.
Arun bhai is like full stack OP person. ठीक है, मैंने मतलब like even when I came to the college, you know, like I'm in second year, so like Arun bhai is super senior, like fourth year में, ठीक है. So he has got many achievements and like I was also fascinated by all that stuff. So like he is super senior OP person, ठीक है, तो इनके contact में रहना definitely. Yeah, apart from that, like उसको informal कर ही रहे थे, like blockchain की
Okay.
बात चल रही है, yeah.
Kumar Harsh ne, okay, oh, okay, I got it. Thanks. Blockchain is all about cryptocurrency. This was yeah, I got it. Okay, and Devrat is also asking, will you guys be having a session on GitHub? Yes, of course. GitHub is, I think, a major part of our life now. I mean, my life, Aman's life also, Kartike's life also. So yes, we are going to take a session. And Aman is going to take a session. Of course, he'll be leading that session because I think he's a perfect man for this job. And besides that, if you want any other thing, I mean, if you want that we teach you some another topic, you can just we'll start a poll in that Telegram group, and then you can just give your views.
That would be great. मतलब don't think of it as too much formal. You cannot ask or you cannot send any message in the Telegram, right? So like okay, screen का doubt clear होना ही चाहिए, ठीक है, regarding that cryptocurrency. So
हो गया, लगभग हो गया, don't worry.
ठीक है, like session is like kind of officially over, ठीक है. If anyone still wants to